idea what I'm going to title this video, but I know in other videos I have mentioned things that I have done in my life just to improve my health journey, little swaps that I've made, things that have made my life a little bit better and a little bit healthier. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the healthier swaps that I've made in my life just to improve my overall health journey. And of course, as a disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian, I have no credentials to share the things I'm sharing with you other than my own opinion, my own research, and things that have worked well for me. And remember, as I say in so many videos when I talk about health or healthy, health is subjective. What works for me may not work for you and vice versa. Just because I use these certain products or don't use other products doesn't mean you have to follow the same. And this is also not a lifestyle that I'm living 100% of the time, 24/7. I'm still a normal person that still likes to indulge in things that I know aren't the best for me. I am just working on little swaps in my everyday life, and therefore I am sharing them with you. So with that being said, let's get into the video. Also, if you're wondering about this little setup right here, this is Girl on the Internet podcast studio. And by studio, I mean a corner of my apartment. In case you missed it, I do have a podcast called Girl on the Internet. I'm in season 2, and I decided to do video form of the podcast. So feel free to check it out on this channel. Be sure to subscribe. You can follow at Girl on the Internet Pod on Instagram to keep up with the podcast. It would mean so much to me. Be sure to like, share, rate, subscribe, leave a review. As a quick little recap, at the start of the year, I began going to a functional medicine doctor because I found out that I had SIBO, which stands for small intestine bacterial overgrowth. I do believe in medication and pills, and sometimes I feel like it is necessary to take those things. I would never tell anyone, like, don't take your meds, but I just wanted to see if this was something that I could fix with just healthy swaps or other alternatives or healthy lifestyle changes. I know for me, once I started making these small swaps in different areas, I began to feel better. I noticed less bloating. I noticed my stomach wasn't hurting as bad. I have very sensitive skin, so even switching out some things that would be on my skin, I've noticed less irritation, less migraines, less brain fog, things like that. But one of the main things and one of the swaps I decided to make, and starting out my list in this video, was just things like laundry detergent and dish soaps. And one of the brands that I really like is called Molly's Suds. This is essentially a non-toxic laundry detergent. It comes in this big pouch. I get the eucalyptus scent, but it contains no dyes, no formaldehydes, no petrochemicals, no phosphates. It cleans my clothes very well, and it does not make me itch or irritate my skin. So if you have sensitive skin, I highly recommend looking into like another type of laundry detergent. But I also buy the Molly's Suds dishwasher pods as well. I really like theirs. Again, non-toxic, different ingredients, a little bit healthier ingredients. But also when you think about it, again, I went down this rabbit hole where I was like, washing your dishes and like cleaning your plates and your silverware and your bowls, the things that you were literally eating food off of, to some level, even if it's like microscopic over time, we have to be ingesting like a little bit of the detergent, right? Another swap that was really easy for me that you guys have seen me incorporate over time is, especially in the kitchen, but just switching over to basic glassware for things like food storage, meal prep, drinking glasses, things like that. I use mason jars all the time for everything. You name it, if it can fit into a mason jar, I'm probably gonna use it. This is reusable. I try not to just use like single-use plastic when I can. That doesn't mean I'm never gonna not go to a coffee shop and get a regular coffee in a plastic container ever again. But when I can make the effort to be a little bit more environmentally friendly and sustainable, I do my best. Another thing in terms of skin, and something I remind myself all the time, is your skin is your largest organ. So it is really important to take as best of care as you can, you know, wearing your sunscreens, being mindful of the products that you're using. But forever and always, I was just using those basic cheap loofahs that you can get at any drugstore. And over time, I noticed my skin would get irritated. I'd get those bumps on the back of my arm. I would get like body acne sometimes. Not only do they harbor bacteria, but also you're just kind of like rubbing this plastic loofah all over your body. They're also not great for the environment because you just are going to throw them out after a few months. There are some good loofahs out there that are made with like actual organic like sponge material, more biodegradable and more eco-friendly, but I do not use like regular plastic loofahs like this anymore. I just use washcloths. It's just so much easier. I already have a bunch of washcloths. It's more environmentally friendly. I can throw them in the wash when I'm done at the end of the week with my regular towels and things like that. And I don't have to worry about the cost of a loofah every few months to throw it out. I prefer that as like an easy swap just for basic hygiene needs. Okay, another deep dive rabbit hole that I go down all the time is skincare and healthcare products. So this is makeup, this is skincare, this is fragrances, this is anything that you're putting on your body. However, one of the swaps that I've actually been loving is switching over to a dry shampoo that is a powder. So this is one from the Acure brand. It is a dry shampoo. It's 100% vegan, it's paraben free, sulfate free, mineral oil free, petroleum free, and cruelty free. And it just comes out like a little little spout, almost like baby powder would. So for me, I like this alternative because sometimes when I'm using those more popular name brand dry shampoos, just all that like spraying and all of the, I don't know, whatever it is in dry shampoos where you have to shake it up and the bottle gets really cold and you're just spraying. I just sometimes think about all like the cloud that's in the air and I'm like inhaling all of that. I'm just like, there's no way that's like good for you, right? Listen, when I said it's a rabbit hole, I wasn't kidding. And the next thing I'm talking about is toothpaste, which you would think toothpaste is like harmless, but there are some very big popular toothpaste brands out there that just have a lot of unnecessary ingredients and chemicals in their products. And I switched over to a more natural sort of toothpaste brand that actually works and actually keeps my teeth white and clean and all of that good stuff. So this is the Hello brand. It's a fluoride-free toothpaste and it has like natural peppermint in it with, I think, an essential oil. And yes, overall, I just think it's a better swap. Again, works well for me. This is a brand that I like. There are different ones on the markets, and yeah, I just prefer things that are a little bit more natural these days when I can. And if I can afford it, I choose to make the swap. Thinking back to my living space, so whether this is laundry or dishes or just cleaning in general, I keep it super basic. I feel like when I first moved out on my own, I wanted a window glass cleaner, a countertop cleaner, a floor cleaner, this cleaner, cleaner for that, for this, for that. There's just like so many different cleaners on the market that target different areas in your home, in your house. I've done a lot of reading and some research, and honestly, just using some of the basic things in your home is just as effective as it would be going to buy the 20 different things you can get at the store. For example, vinegar, baking soda, lemon juice, salt, different things like that have properties that are okay for your house to clean with, to disinfect with. I always have a bottle of white distilled vinegar on hand because you can clean with it. I throw it in my washing machine as a more natural fabric softener. I don't know if you know, but white vinegar can be a fabric softener and it's super cheap, especially when I'm cleaning like produce and things like that, using vinegar, baking soda. Even the FDA approves of that stuff. So it's like, okay, if I'm trying to kill the pesticides or the dirt or, you know, the bugs off of the fruit and veggies that I bought, then that's good enough. You don't need to buy a $30 like produce cleaning spray or soap or whatever. You can just use the basics. I think at this point you guys know that I'm a big foodie. I love to cook, I love to eat, I love to explore with different foods, create recipes, meal prep. For example, with trial and error, I have learned that my body does not respond the best to gluten and to dairy. Now, are those two things absolutely delicious? Of course they are. Do I still live, laugh, love pizza, ice cream, all of those delicious things? Yes. Will I continue to eat those things? Yes. But in my normal everyday life, like on a week-to-week basis, I am doing my best to try to eliminate my gluten intake and also my dairy intake because I prefer to just feel my best, and gluten and dairy just do not settle well with my stomach. A brand that I love so much that does gluten-free and grain-free and dairy-free just so well is the Siete brand. Again, not sponsored, but they have delicious chips and tortilla chips and cookies. They have these like churro chips that are to die for. They are so good. I don't even have a bag here because I finished a bag last night, but these little tortilla strip chips that is dusted and coated with like a cinnamon sugar, but it's like a coconut sugar with some cinnamon, and it's like organic and vegan and all the good things, gluten-free. Oh, they are so good. Okay, another big one for me, that this one I actually took very, very seriously because I started to have like actual side effects too, and this is just candles, because I've noticed that I actually have pretty severe reactions to just like artificial fragrance and perfumes and things like that. For example, I went to Atlanta with one of my friends and we got in an Uber, and this Uber had like, I'm not kidding, like 15 of those little like artificial trees that was around the rear view mirror that had like the new car smell or whatever, and probably like 6 or 7 different like Febreze like plugins into the little air vents in the car. And the second I opened the car door, it just like hit me like a ton of bricks with just like all this artificial perfume and fragrance, and it was just like terrible. Like I feel like I was just eating it. Like it was just so strong. And the second I got in that car, I had a migraine within seconds. It actually made me incredibly nauseous and anxious. And then like 20 or 30 minutes later, after I got out of the car and was actually going to continue on with the plans that I had later that day with my friend, I actually had one of the worst panic attacks I've had in several years. So I'm a firm believer in like, if you're feeling like brain fog, headaches, you're not feeling well, really evaluate your home and your space. Do you have a lot of fragrances? Are you lighting candles? Do you have wall plugins? plugins, like the things in your car. Like I prefer to use essential oils, or I just use things like orange peels. I use like regular flowers and just like cut them, eucalyptus. I just use unscented everything now. Unscented trash bags are the vibe. I can't even do like a scented trash bag because it's just too much for me. So something that I actually switched over to using just this year, no longer using tampons, and I have switched over to using a menstrual cup, and it is a game freaking changer. And it kind of freaks me out how tampons just like aren't regulated with, I don't know if it's the FDA or whatever, but that's why they literally give you that 20-page pamphlet when you buy a box of tampons about toxic shock syndrome. I don't know if that freaks out any of you, but it freaks me out. I remember the first time I ever wore a tampon, I was like, what the TSS? Huh? And even pads, like I hate to scare you, but like they use bleach, they use different formaldehydes and chemicals and things. And it's frustrating and it's insane to think about because they are literally in contact, touching, or inside of a very sensitive part of the female human body, and it just freaks me out. In 2023, I officially just quit using tampons. I switched over to a silicone menstrual cup. I love it so much. It's great. It definitely takes some getting used to and some practice because it can be very jarring and uncomfortable and scary at first, but once you get the hang of it, it is fantastic. I will say and this might be TMI, but whatever. I mean, periods are periods. If you can't talk about periods and bloods and menstruating, then you know, we need to be a little bit more mature, okay? Because you either are a woman, or you've loved a woman, or you've been inside of a woman, or you came from a woman. So we can have these conversations. We're adults. I will say in terms of the menstrual cup, if you're not a heavy bleeder, you may not have best success with a menstrual cup because they can like hold a substantial amount of blood. There are so many different options out there nowadays because you can leave it in for such a long time. You don't have to worry about getting TSS. It's made of more of a natural material. Another healthy swap that I've made in my life in terms of ways to move my body is just finding what works best for me and things that I like. So for me, I hate HIIT workouts and they do not do anything for me. And also I'm somebody naturally who, after going to my functional medicine doctor, I learned that I naturally have a little bit higher of cortisol, and doing things like high intensity workouts and HIIT training and things like that and running, those can actually increase your cortisol. So trial and error, figuring out what workouts or what ways of moving your body works best for you for any stage of your life, whether you are ambulatory, non-ambulatory, maybe use an assistive device to get around. It is something that is so beneficial to us, and it is something that is worth investigating and learning about what you like in order to live a healthy lifestyle. And lastly, something else that has helped me in terms of healthy swaps and live a little bit more of a non-toxic, environmentally friendly, best version of myself life. There is an app that you can get on the App Store called the Yuka app. The Yuka app basically just gives you a little heads up into what it is you're consuming or using. So for example, if you are using the barcode scanner and you scan your favorite bag of chips, it's probably just going to tell you like, hey, these chips have like a ton of sodium in them, or a lot of trans fat, or a lot of this, or you know, this ingredient. Even for things like skincare, hair care, makeup, you can scan the barcode and it'll just tell you like what some of the ingredients are. It'll break it down for you. It'll tell you, are they toxic? Are they non-toxic? Are they good for human consumption? Are they good to put on your skin? Things like that. And again, another friendly reminder, this video is simply just my opinions, my own thoughts. It's not sponsored. It's not anything like that. Just little tips and tricks and swaps I've made in my life to live a healthier lifestyle, to what that means for me. Everyone's definition of healthy is different. It's subjective. I'm not trying to inform or misinform you of anything. Keep doing what you're doing if you want. These are just simply my recommendations and things that have worked well for me. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out my podcast, Girl on the Internet. You can stream it here on YouTube if you want to watch the video version. You can also listen to the audio anywhere that you stream podcasts, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. At Girl on the Internet Pod on Instagram, at sincerely.kayla on Instagram. Come hang out with me. Feel free to check out the description of this video. Everything you need will be linked below. Come hang out with me on other platforms. And as always, remember to go easy on yourself, and I'll see you next week with a new video.